the safest way to wash your paint. Hi, I'm Yvan Lacroix, and this is the Detailer's Business Academy, where we strive to take you from detailer to entrepreneur. Now, paint safe washes, there's a lot of different theories, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and honestly, whatever floats your boat, do it. That being said, a few things that we need to consider. First of all, soap. It's antique. Soap should be used in museums to show kids how they used to wash cars. Soap shouldn't be used anymore. It's a very old technology. Yes, manufacturers keep bringing out new soaps. They're still soaps. And soaps have a few downfalls when it comes to washing safely. First of all, take a bucket of water, put some soap in it, mix it up, smells great, everything is fine. Wash the car. Where's the dirt sitting? It's sitting at the top of the bucket. Now, that's not safe. So what do? We do a 2-bucket method. So we rinse our wash medium first, and then we put it in the soapy water to put it on the vehicle. Why do that extra work when there are other ways of doing it? It's just taking you more time, taking more water, and it's still not that safe. Soap has a few other little drawbacks. Soap leaves a film on the vehicle. Now, you can test this quite easily. I'm a fan of rinseless washing, have been for almost 20 years. Rinseless washing, as far as I'm concerned, is a much safer method, and we'll get into that in a few minutes, how to make it much safer than soap. That being said, wash your hands with soap. Dry them, rinse them, dry them, as much as you want. And taste your hands afterwards. Just take a little lick. Yep, tastes like soap. Now do the same thing with the rinseless wash. Now, a good rinseless wash will leave nothing on your skin, and it will also leave nothing on the paint. And that makes a big difference because the soap is leaving a minute film on the paint. That film attracts dirt, attracts dust, things like that. And you're not getting the true clarity of your paint because there's a film on it. Now, back to the safety of the wash. Again, like I said, not a fan of soap, haven't been for 20 years. Rinseless washes. Why are they safer? Well, it's the technology behind rinseless washes, and you have to be careful. There's some rinseless washes out there that, we'll put the air quotes here, that are just soaps. And if your rinseless wash can suds, that's not a good thing. A rinseless wash shouldn't create suds. Now, when you're mixing it up in the beginning, yes, there'll be a few little suds here and there, but you shouldn't be able to put it in a foam cannon and spray it on your car. And speaking of foam cannons, they are great eye candy. They do nothing for the vehicle. And here's a little test you can do yourself. People think the foam cannon is actually doing something, and there are instances where it can. But in a general wash situation with car wash soap, it's just eye candy. Take your foam cannon, spray down one panel of a car. So we'll take a door as an example. Let it dwell. Let it do its thing. Let it sit there until there's almost no suds left. Then take your pressure washer and pressure wash that panel and the one beside it, the one that you didn't put any soap or anything on first. Then let them air dry. And that's the test that nobody does. Let it air dry. And then look at the two panels and see if there's actually a difference. More often than not, there's no difference. The panel that you pressure washed and the panel that you did the foam cannon thing on, once they air dry, there's no difference because the foam looks good. Yes, it might take some of the dirt off, but it's not protecting as many people think it is. It's, again, great eye candy. Now, if you want to pre-soak your vehicle, do so with either a waterless wash or a rinseless wash. Why? Because they have much more powerful emulsifiers in them, and they have lubricants. They actually lift the dirt off the surface. Soap sits there, looks pretty, smells nice. That's what it does. Now, if you want the ultimate in safe washes, don't start with the pressure washer. What? No, don't start with your pressure washer. Think of it this way. You now have water coming at the car at 1500 psi or 2000 or whatever pressure you're putting on it, pushing the dirt to one side. It's not going underneath the dirt and lifting it off magically. No, you're pushing on the dirt with 1,500 pounds of pressure, and moving it across the paint. Yeah, your pressure washer is doing that. Now, a pressure washer is a great tool in detailing, and it is necessary for a good wash, as far as I'm concerned. But it isn't the best first move. Your best first move, as I mentioned, is either spraying on some rinseless wash or spraying on some waterless wash. And what that will do is it will actually lift the dirt off the surface a little bit. And again, if you do the test where you pressure wash one panel and you pressure wash the other, you probably won't see a big difference. The difference you will see, though, is that the area that you'd put the waterless wash or the rinseless wash on will actually bead a little more when you throw some water on it, because it has taken some of that road film and some of that dirt off. But for our case, we want the safest wash possible. So we put our rinseless or waterless wash on the surface, let it dwell. By the time we walk around the vehicle, that's long enough. Then you pressure wash. What that's doing is now you have a lubricant on the surface, and you're not pushing the dirt into the paint, you're pushing it around in the lubricant and getting it off the surface a little better. Then from there, we wash. Now, a lot of choices in wash medias. We have wool, we have microfiber, and we have foam. And people think, ooh, foam, no, don't use a sponge. Well, actually, a sponge is the safest method. Think of a microfiber. What does it do? It attracts dirt, does a great job at it, and it holds it on its surface. Yes. So that first panel you did, well, as soon as you moved a few inches, you're dragging the dirt from the first few inches into the other few inches. A wool wash mitt, while it's traditional, while it might be fun, and it holds suds like crazy, same problem as the microfiber. Now, foam. Why foam? Well, foam is an engineered product, and there's a lot of different foams on the market, and there's a lot of different foams that do a job. My favorite wash sponge, the Ultra Black sponge. It's my favorite because I designed it. That being said, the foam in it has a very interesting way of working with dirt. You don't want to use your sponge too wet, and you don't want to use it dry either. You just want to have it so it's at the point of dripping. And what that does is the foam actually absorbs the dirt into the sponge. And then when you put your wash sponge back in your bucket, it releases the dirt. It doesn't try to hold on to it. It's saying, oh, be free, go into that water. And a good rinseless wash, again, not only emulsifies the dirt, but acts as a water softener. That means the dirt that is in your sponge, when you put it in that wash bucket, actually goes to the bottom of the bucket. It sinks right down, getting out of your way, getting out of the way of the sponge, meaning you don't need two buckets. My 2-bucket wash method is 1 bucket on either side of the car. Much more efficient. You're not dragging the bucket around. Yes, a sponge is the safest method, and you can try this for yourself. Take a dirty car, take your wash mitt, go across it, look at the wash mitt, put it in your rinse bucket, look at it again. There'll still be dirt on it. Do the same thing with your wash sponge, no more dirt. And it doesn't matter the color of the sponge, it's the technology of the sponge. It actually works that way. Now, not every wash sponge is a safe wash sponge. People use grout sponges. No, it's not engineered for that. And they used to use foam that was not the greatest. But there are engineered foam products like the Ultra Black sponge that are designed specifically for the job, and they do it very well. And it's actually even safer with the Ultra Black sponge. If you're using soap, it increases the safety of soap. Doesn't bring it anywhere near the safety of rinseless wash, but it makes it a little bit safer because of its action of bringing in the dirt and releasing it. Now, I mentioned not having the sponge too wet. Well, if your wash sponge is too wet, it doesn't leave place to absorb the dirt. So you have to be careful of that. You just want it on the point of dripping. Now, the next portion, if we go with a traditional soap and water wash, is we rinse off the car. What are we left with on the car? We're left with water. Now, there's dust in the air. It's accumulating back on that surface just as fast as we took it off. And it's accumulating on water. Water is the world's most prevalent solvent. It's not a hydrocarbon solvent, but it is a solvent. Look at the Grand Canyon as an example. That being said, it is a solvent, it erodes things, and it has zero lubrication. water is not a lubricant. So you're drying the car off with your beautiful microfiber towel, and this is the instance where microfiber is at its best. Dry with a microfiber. Pick the weave of your choice, but use a microfiber towel. And you're dragging that new dust and the water on the surface. And since you're using just water, you need to actually put a bit of pressure on it to dry faster, to dry better. And it's a natural instinct that it's not drying, I'll put a little more pressure. It happens. Now the rinseless wash, it's providing lubrication all through its wash. And the rinseless wash, let's get one thing straight. It doesn't mean you don't pre-rinse the vehicle. It means once you're done washing, you don't rinse it off again. That is the essence of a rinseless wash. You can pre-rinse as much as you want. Actually, you should probably. But when you get to the point of drying the vehicle, you don't rinse the solution off. No, you leave it there because it's a powerful lubricant and it's going to help in drying. The soap and bucket brigade, well, they came up with a different strategy. And that's called a drying aid. It's another product for you to have. It's another product you really don't need. But if you're doing a soap and water wash and you want to be safe for the paint, yes, you do need a drying aid. And the drying aid name is a little misleading. It should actually be called a drying lubricant because that's what you actually need. You don't need a drying aid. You need a drying lubricant. That way you're not damaging the paint. Now, there are other strategies for drying. You can use blow dryers, you can use an air gun, all sorts of fun things to get the majority off, but you're never going to get it completely dry. You need a towel. Get a good microfiber towel. The other aspect of washing is knowing your materials and cleaning them often. So if you're using a sponge, if you're using a wash mitt, I don't care what material or medium you're using to wash with, keep it clean. You have a grit guard in your bucket. I hope you have a grit guard in your bucket. And the grit guard in the bucket, you should clean under that grit guard once in a while because, well, dirt accumulates. And in a rinseless wash, you'll see that dirt accumulates actually even faster below the grit guard because it's not floating around in the water anymore. It's being driven right down to the bottom. Another aspect of cleaning is steam. I've seen people clean with steam. And steam can be a very safe way of cleaning a vehicle. But there's a big one here. You can't just use steam itself. Now, good manufacturers of steam machines provide a softener that goes in the water. The softener or the chemical that they provide is very much like a rinseless wash in the fact that it provides lubrication and it provides emulsification. Now, why do you need a conditioner or a softener or a chemical in the water when you're using steam? Because steam by itself lifts things off the surface. Yes, but again, it's just water. And water, as we mentioned before, is a solvent and it has no lubricity whatsoever. So if you're taking that high-powered steam, diesel-fired machine and just blowing it on the car and wiping it off, you're going to be creating scratches. It's not going to be pretty. But add the chemical that the manufacturer suggests into the water and do it. Now you've got the magic of chemistry that is helping you by surrounding that dirt in polymers and keeping it from scratching the vehicle. Again, technology comes to our rescue. So you can use steam, and I've seen a lot of people talk down about using steam. And if you're just using steam, I agree. It's not a safe way to wash the car. But if you're using a steam that has a proper wash chemical in it, then yes, it's a great way of washing a car and can be really safe. So safety when it comes down to washing a car is know what you're using, know how to use it, and keep everything clean around you. Clean your buckets, clean everything, and especially your wash media. Now the wash media, again, if you're using microfiber, you're going to use a lot of microfiber if you want to stay safe. And there's a lot of extra effort in washing that microfiber. If you're using a wool mitt, well, no. It's just too old. Not that it's too old. I'm old as well, and I'm still somewhat pertinent. But if you have a wool wash mitt, leave it hanging in the garage on the nail that your father left it there, and just keep it as a memory. Don't wash your car with it. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please leave them below. I'm always happy to answer. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave them. Have a great day.